All right, Coach Davis. How long have you been coaching bowling here at OUAZ?
I've been coaching the bowling team here since December of 2023.
2023, so a couple of years.
Yep.
How you liking it here as opposed to where you were before out there in Southern California?
It's warmer during the summer. It's definitely warmer. No, the people here are just fantastic. The crew here at OUAZ, great people. Very, very honored to be given the reins to the bowling program. I came here to Ottawa as the sports information director, and then they said, you know what, we think you'd be better as the bowling coach. I was like, okay. So I still help out with the sports information department, so it's, I still get the thrill of being able to be part of game day operations and all like that, but I'm really thankful to be the head coach for the bowling team, being able to guide these student athletes in their ambitions to get into the pro tours and just be realistic with them. It's like, hey, I'm not trying to be Mr. Negative here, but it takes a lot of work to be a pro, and here's what it's going to need to be for you to be on there.
So far in your brief tenure as the head coach here, where have you noticed the program starting to go, and how confident are you that it's going to continue to grow?
I'm very confident that we're going to continue to grow, period, the end. Last year we started with 6 bowlers. This year we're at 10. Next year we're looking at about 18. So it's definitely going in the right direction. 18 to 20 is like the maximum I want to kind of get to. Don't want to get too far out of that. After that, then it becomes craziness. And then you have to worry about, okay, well, this guy is paying this money to be here. Is he getting the return as far as being able to bowl for that money? And I think if we get more than 18, frankly, the answer will be no. And so I'm making sure everything in my power that we don't go above 18 to 20.
And so far, can you just speak a little bit to the success you guys have seen early in your
Sure. When I took over, we had the program itself had been to 2 tournaments, and they did okay. They didn't do great. They had a couple tournament champions individual. Since then, since I've taken over, we've taken 4 tournaments as a team, and on the individual side, we've had 5 tournament champions. Very happy to say that, frankly, the tournament championships and the plaques, fantastic. Don't get me wrong, I love those. But the one thing that I'm more proud of is the fact that I took a female bowler. When I first got here, she was averaging about 76. By the end of that season, she was bowling over 130. And that was just in like a matter of a couple months. And that, frankly, is what I'm so jacked up about and love, is seeing the improvements. Yes, that's a huge improvement. And I have a lot of other bowlers that have gone up a couple pins here and there. But you know what? As long as they're getting better, that's frankly all I care about. The tournament championships, they're going to come. As long as you take care of the small things, the championships are going to come. And that's one of the things that I kind of like, hang my hat on, is the fact that, we're improving, and that's all that really matters. The 3 pillars for our team: do your best, encourage everyone, and frankly, have fun. Because if you're not having fun, why are we doing this?
One thing that I've noticed in, I think, about a year I've been covering OUAZ sports, I've had plenty of conversations with you and as well as other coaches. It seems like there's a culture here, whether it's outwardly stated or just kind of an internal thing, about individuals and relationships and almost atmosphere that kind of feels familial. Is that something that you're proud of? Is something that outwardly you try to
exactly.
embody?
I mean, my whole thing is, this isn't a team, it's a family. And that encourages, the entire university. It's pretty much not really publicly stated, like you were saying, but definitely something that you can tell, just being here for a couple months, you could tell, hey, this is more of a family than it is a school. And that's what I'm really trying to get with our team is, I was very fortunate to have a grad student this year, Mike Wallace Jr., He's took last year off from athletics and helped me be an assistant coach last year, to find out if he wanted to do it after he gets his grad degree, and also to help build the family atmosphere around here. And between the two of us and a couple of the other returners, there is no way that you're going to look at our team and think, oh, that's not a family. No, we're a family that just happens to be a team.
Some dual athletes. Are there unique challenges when having dual athletes, especially with an overhand throw versus an underhand throw?
Yeah, we do have Carter. He's a freshman this year on our team. He is a baseball pitcher and bowler, and the baseball team loves it because they know he's not going to throw it his arm, throwing the bowling ball. And I'm like, every time he's out on the mound, because there is a chance that he could screw up his shoulder. And it's like, guys, come on. But no, there's really a lot of work on both Carter's and my behalf, trying to get the schedules right so that he can do everything that he needs to for the baseball and for bowling. We're still, and frankly, it's a work in progress. It's the first time that I've ever had to deal with having a two-sport athlete and having the seasons kind of overlap at the end. But it's something that I'm loving, because matter of fact, I'm out now recruiting other kids that are multi-sport athletes that want to come here for multi-sports. I got one guy that I'm recruiting now from the high desert up in California that wants to do track and field here at OUAZ in addition to bowling. So me and Coach Ben are talking about trying to figure out, okay, what's the schedule looking like if he does come and all like that.
Bowling is very unique among college sports.
Very.
Like, can you speak a little bit to like that challenge and also getting to play against some NCAA kids?
So the great thing with the way we're situated out here in Surprise with the NAIA and our bowling team is that there is only one other NAIA bowling team in the state of Arizona, and that's Arizona Christian. And they're only guys. We are the only men and women program west of the Rockies. So with so few NAIAs out here on the West Coast, we're playing NCAA's club teams all the time. Cal Poly, Fresno, University of Washington, Oregon State, San Jose State, Fullerton, who is the host of our first tournament coming up here in a couple weeks. And then, of course, you have ASU, Grand Canyon, and, UNLV. Forgot my good friend Gary up there at UNLV. They're all great teams, and it helps us in the fact that, they may not be the NAIAs that we're supposed to be competing against, but guess what? Sometimes they're better. Fresno State, Grand Canyon, Arizona State when they're on, Cal Poly when they're on, all four of those teams are in the top 10 for NCAA clubs. And if you're not playing against those and trying to get better by playing them, I don't know why you're even participating in athletics, because you're always wanting to get better. So, it's one of those things like, we may not be competing against the top NAIA schools, but we're definitely competing against top schools.
And just kind of try to elaborate a little bit on that. It sounds like, on one hand, you're not playing a whole lot of within your own conference, but this unique challenge ends up making you better overall.
Yeah, and technically, you could say that we are part of the West Coast Conference, the West Coast Bowling Conference, the WCBC, and simply because that's where most of our tournaments are. Next year, we're kind of going to be moving away from that, moving more towards the NAIA. That's the plan as of right now. Obviously, things can change. But right now, we're still going for the WCBC championship.
So we talked a little bit about these tournaments. One of the main ones you guys compete in is with GCU. They host it. Can you just describe a little bit about how these tournaments work for people that might not understand?
Sure. We got probably about 8 teams on the guys' side, and then probably about another 4 to 5, maybe 6 teams on the women's side. And they all compete on the same oil pattern. As you've seen, if you watch the PBA, each tournament has its own pattern. So each day for our tournaments is a separate tournament. And so you would have one tournament one day, say Saturday, one oil pattern. Excuse me, sorry about that. On Sunday, you'd have a second oil pattern. But everyone competes against everybody. Women against women, men against men, JVs against JVs. If you're a co-ed team like we were last year, you're lumped in with the guys because you have guys on your team. The way it would work is first you have what they call team games, where you have 5 players, each one bowls their own game, total score, that's your score. And then you'll have that for like anywhere from 4 to 8 games. And then you'll take like a little bit of a break. Sometimes they'll re-oil, sometimes they won't. Most of the time they don't. And then you come back for what they call Baker games, which is when all 5 players combine to bowl one game. So you got your leadoff bowler will bowl frames 1 and 6. Second will be 2 and 7, yada, 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 5 and 10. That's your anchor bowler, traditionally your best bowler on the team. And so then you're going to have like about 16 of those because they go really quick. And then those combined with the team scores from earlier in the day, whoever has the highest pin total, there's your winner.
But a lot of these schools, people don't realize, don't really have like a bowling training facility. They're just practicing on regular lanes.
Yeah.
Does that kind of your pattern, your kind of repetition, what challenges does it bring when you're playing on practicing on a standard bowling?
Yeah, well, exactly, and that's one of the things that we have to deal with is the fact that we do go to a general bowling center instead of having one on campus, which we would love to have. And when you have it at your own facility, you can put down any oil pattern you want and practice anything you want. Literally, I know a couple of my coaching friends back east that have their own facility on campus, to which I say, but they can put down, any pattern they want. They can create their own patterns. There's a pattern that the pro bowlers use quite often called shark, which is widely considered one of the more difficult patterns. They can throw that down with a little tweak here and there, and then they can get better by practicing on the exact same pattern or very similar pattern that they're going to see in a tournament. It's not always the case with us. We have to kind of like bend over and say, okay, the facility can't put down patterns for us, okay? Is there a time where you can? Can we adjust our practice schedules to come in when you can put down those special patterns for us? Because, sometimes we would probably, if we bowl on nothing but standard oil patterns, we're going to be getting our butts handed to us. In competition, when we're on these specialty patterns and we don't really know how to set it up for our, to get good scores. We know how to bowl again on league patterns. Yeah, let's go league. Let's just kick some butt there. Problem is everyone else is already doing that too. The other thing is we can't go in and I can't go in and say, okay, we're going to practice just hitting the 10 pin. And you're going to do that without being able to see the pins. There's some teams like my friends back east that they literally can go in before practice, set up a PVC curtain over the lane where it's literally about yay much above the lanes so that the ball passes through, doesn't interfere with the curtain, but you can't see the pins at all. You got to practice. Okay, you see the arrows on the lane? For most people, it's like, oh, there's arrows there. That's nice. For us, that's a targeting system. We need to hit that arrow at this angle to hit that pin. Put a curtain down just beyond the arrows. That's what you're going to try to practice. Hitting that spot every time, and that will get you your pin. Hopefully. As long as everything else goes right. We don't have that option, so do we want that option? Of course we would love to have that option, but reality is we don't have that option, so we just we practice what we can, and we do as good as we can.
And I guess I'll end it on one for a future, one for an end goal. Would you like to, and think there's any realistic possibility down the line of being able to have facilities like that and continue to build here at OUAZ?
If somebody can get me the winning lotto number, sure. Somebody wants to donate $15 million to build a facility, sure, let's go. Reality, probably not, but it's one of those things like, if you can, do it. The way I would look at it is if I won the lotto, one of those huge lottos, like 115, almost, maybe more like 500 million or dollars like that. I'd build a facility near campus here where we could go in as a team, practice anytime we wanted. But I'd also have open bowling for the community of Surprise, Sun City, Glendale, whoever wants to come out and have fun, because again, that's one of our pillars. Have fun, do your best. And, if you can have fun, why not have fun? My goal one of these days, if I could ever get it to work, is to actually host a tournament. Most college tournaments start at 8 o'clock in the morning. I am not a morning person. My goal is to have a tournament that starts at 4 o'clock in the afternoon and would be under what they call cosmic conditions. That's your disco lights going on, your music blaring, black lights all over the place. That's fun. I've talked to a few other teams, and a couple of the bowlers is like, yeah, that'd be fun. The coach is like, are you kidding me? To which I was like, don't worry, coaches, I got you covered. I know you want your marks to be clear, so we'd have a stripe right over the arrows of plain white light, just so you can see where the ball crosses the arrows. Other than that, it's going to be fun. That's my dream. Is it going to happen? Probably not. But hey, you never know.
Hey, we can get that donation.
Exactly, Chris.Davis at Automatic.
But also, just to slightly add on to that, you mentioned that community aspect, being able to open it up, kind of like, let's compare it to a public ice rink, where you can have someone Scottsdale Ice Rink, the Coyotes used to practice there, then you also have it open. That also generates revenue to essentially let it pay for itself and be sustainable. So you're essentially only needing startup costs, and as long as you do it right, it pays for itself.
Yeah, but I mean, what's the startup cost for a bowling alley? Just, like $15-20 million, because, each lane costs about, I think I read recently it was like $12,872 or something like that per lane to start up. That's with the lane, the equipment in the back, and all the extra, shoes and all like that. Just, $15,000 per lane.
And then how many lanes would just idealistically?
Idealistically, I would love to have like a 16 to 24 lane facility. That's enough that even if we were practicing on like 6 lanes, you still have 16 to 20 lanes that you could have, open for the public.
And then even just worst case scenario, or you're just like, hey, we need a little bit of privacy. You can put up curtains just for that little bit, and then you still have it open for anyone else.
Exactly. And the other thing is being the coach, I'd say, oh, by the way, our locker room is going to be right there, so you can literally walk from the locker room out to our lanes. In the locker room, we'd have our own drilling press, and all like that we could, fix our own balls if we needed to. So
I appreciate you so much for your time, Coach.
Thank you, sir.